Prince of Wales has a key role in the coronation.
Yes, of course. Yeah, wow, look at that food.
This is a chart.
When King Charles passes, everything changes in the royal family within just 24 hours. In this video, we look at 12 things Harry and Meghan will lose in the first 24 hours after King Charles passes. Some of these changes may shock you, while others are expected. What exactly will disappear from their lives? Will they still have any royal connection left? Join us as we uncover the truth. What will they lose first, and why it matters so much? Number 12. When the title architecture collapses. Let us begin where the monarchy always begins, with titles. In the British system, titles are not just symbols. They are part of a legal structure. They shape access, privilege, rank, and influence. They decide who stands where and who holds authority. The moment King Charles III passes, the full power to define, limit, and remove those titles moves immediately to Prince William, who would become king. During Charles's reign, there was a careful sense of uncertainty around the position of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Their Duke and Duchess titles remained in place. Their children, Archie and Lilibet, were allowed to hold the titles of Prince and Princess after Charles became king. There was always a quiet hope that the family divide might heal one day, so no final decision was made to fully close the door. That approach is expected to change under William. The tool he would use is called letters patent. These are official royal orders issued under the monarch's full authority. They can reshape the structure of the royal family with clear and exact decisions. Within the first day of his reign, William is widely expected to introduce new letters patent that create a firm line between working royals and those who are not. The impact on Harry and Meghan would be immediate. Their styles of His Royal Highness and Her Royal Highness, already not used in public, would be removed from all official use. They would no longer appear in state records, official reports, or the royal family's formal listings. Number 11. The future of Archie and Lilibet. If losing personal titles feels painful, the deeper question is what it means for Archie and Lilibet. That is where the real emotional weight sits. When King Charles ascended the throne in September 2022, the George V Convention of 1917 automatically raised the status of his grandchildren. Archie became Prince Archie, and Lilibet became Princess Lilibet. This change did not come as a special favor from the palace. It happened because of long-standing constitutional rules tied to the line of succession. For Prince Harry and Meghan, these titles were never just about rank. They represented a living link between their children and a royal heritage they had stepped away from. That connection carried meaning far beyond formal status. Now, attention turns to what could happen under a future King William. He has been very clear about his goal of a smaller and more focused monarchy. Many constitutional experts agree with this view, believing that a large royal family, filled with many princes and princesses, may struggle to remain relevant in a modern democratic world. His approach is simple, direct, and carefully structured. Within that vision, there is little space for a prince and princess who live in Montecito, hold American citizenship, and have not carried out official royal duties. In the early hours of his reign, William could consult with the Lord Chancellor and signal a plan to Parliament to adjust the 1917 convention. Harry and Meghan's positions are clearly and carefully defined. This change would limit royal titles to the children of the sovereign and the children of the heir apparent. Under such a rule, Prince George's future children would qualify, but Archie and Lilibet would not. The process itself would be quiet but effective. Instead of removing titles in a dramatic way, official communications could simply stop using the HRH style. Over time, this would create a settled reality that is difficult to challenge. If that happens, Archie and Lilibet would hold courtesy titles instead. Archie could be known as the Earl of Dumbarton, while Lilibet could be styled as Lady Mountbatten Windsor. They would remain private individuals with well-known family ties, but without formal royal standing. Number 10. When royal financial shield stops. Money is where the Sussex's situation moves from symbolic pressure to real difficulty. For many years, Prince Harry's lifestyle was supported in part by income from the Duchy of Cornwall. This is not a claim, but a constitutional reality. The duchy exists to fund the heir to the throne. When William held the title Prince of Wales, it produced a surplus, and Charles used that surplus to support his sons. This support helped cover Harry's security during his transition, his legal battles, and parts of his working structure. These costs were not funded only by media deals. There was also steady financial help from his father. When Charles passes, control of the Duchy of Cornwall moves to William. Once William becomes king, its management shifts to the crown. If Harry and Meghan attend the funeral, they will do so without a royal motorcade, without metropolitan police protection, and without intelligence support from MI5, with income reserved for Prince George as future heir. William then controls the surplus and does not see any duty to support Harry financially. A full financial review begins quickly after accession, examining every shared cost and informal support. William believes only those involved in royal work should receive funding. By this view, Harry and Meghan have been receiving support without contributing. That support ends. Now they face major expenses, including their Montecito home, security, and legal costs. Harry's inheritance is limited. Without palace support, they stand alone, and their commercial value may fall as royal ties fully weaken. Number 9. The final loss of a royal home. Home is more than a place to live. In the royal world, it shows position and belonging. For Harry and Meghan, this meaning is now changing in a very clear way. They are about to lose their last strong link to the United Kingdom through Frogmore Cottage. Frogmore Cottage was never just a house. It stood as a quiet sign that they still had a place within royal life. The home was given under a grace and favor arrangement. This meant they could step back from duties but still have a door open in Britain. Under King William, that door is expected to close very quickly, within the first 24 hours of the new reign. A full review of all grace and favor homes on the Crown Estate will begin. The rules are simple. To live in such a property, a person must be a working royal or have an active formal role with the palace. Harry and Meghan do not meet these rules. They are no longer working royals, and they live permanently in California. Because of this, they do not qualify to keep the home. Frogmore Cottage also remains empty for most of the year. It still needs care, staff, security, and regular spending. Keeping such a large property unused for about 350 days each year does not match the goal of showing value to the public. The decision to remove them will be handled quietly through legal steps. Still, the result is clear. They will no longer have a home base in Britain. When they visit London, they will stay in hotels or with friends, just like other well-known private individuals. Number 8. Security battle enters a new phase. Of all the challenges Harry has faced since stepping back from royal duties, his fight for police protection in the United Kingdom has been the most constant, public, and deeply emotional. He has taken his case to court and spoken openly in the media, saying his safety in Britain remains uniquely at risk. He has lost those cases, filed appeals, and expressed fear about bringing his children to their home country without the protection he believes he should have. Within the first 24 hours of King William's reign, this argument loses its final support. When Charles was alive and king, there was still some political pressure on the Home Office to consider Harry's protection more carefully. It could still be argued, even if weakly, that as the son of the monarch, his security was linked to the crown. With Charles gone, that connection changes completely. Harry is no longer the son of the monarch. He is now the brother of the king, but not a working royal. He is a private citizen living in California with no official constitutional role and has publicly criticized the royal family and its systems. The committee responsible for royal and public figure protection, known as RAVEC, meets regularly to review security arrangements. At the start of the new reign, a review will take place. The likely outcome is that Harry will no longer qualify for publicly funded security in the United Kingdom. He will be treated as a high-profile private individual who must arrange and pay for his own protection. This change carries real consequences. If Harry and Meghan attend the funeral, they will do so without a royal motorcade, without metropolitan police protection, and without intelligence support from MI5. Their private security cannot carry firearms in the United Kingdom. In a large public crowd, Harry will stand outside the royal security perimeter for the first time, showing clearly how much his status has changed. Number 7. Painful shift in military identity. Prince Harry served 2 tours in Afghanistan. He earned his wings and wore his uniform with deep pride. For him, military life was the most real and meaningful part of his royal role. It was not an act or a duty for show. It was a true reflection of who he believed he was. This is why the change that comes within the first day of Prince William's reign will feel so heavy. As king, William becomes Commander-in-Chief of the British Armed Forces. This role gives him full authority over who is allowed to wear military uniform at state events, including the lying in state and funeral of a monarch. For working royals, wearing uniform is automatic. For non-working royals, it depends on the king's decision. In this case, the choice is expected to be firm and without emotion. The funeral of Queen Elizabeth II already gave a clear example. Harry attended in a mourning suit instead of his military uniform. Many people saw this as a public moment that carried deep meaning. Under King William, this is not a temporary situation. It becomes a fixed rule. Within the first day of the new reign, official dress instructions will be released. Non-working royals, including Harry, will attend in civilian mourning dress. While the king stands in full ceremonial uniform, wearing medals and symbols of command, Harry will stand in a simple suit, among others. His military service and achievements will not change this rule. This moment raises a quiet but powerful question about identity, recognition, and how the world now sees him. Number 6. Final constitutional link explained. This issue may seem technical, but it carries deep importance. It represents Prince Harry's last formal constitutional connection to the British state. Councillors of state are senior royals chosen to act for the monarch when the sovereign is away or unable to perform duties. They have the authority to sign state papers, receive ambassadors, and carry out certain official responsibilities in the king's name. Prince Harry is currently on this list because of his birth position. As the son of the late king, his place in the line of succession keeps him technically eligible. However, this position may soon change. Within the first 24 hours of Prince William's reign, the new king is expected to act quickly on this matter. The law requires that councillors of state must have a home in the United Kingdom. Harry, now a permanent resident of California, already appears to fall short of this requirement. Even so, William is not expected to rely on this point alone. He is likely to formally ask Parliament to update the law, adding a clear rule that requires UK residency. This move is expected to be based on the need for clarity and smooth constitutional function. This change is not just symbolic. It would confirm in law that Harry no longer holds any working constitutional role. He would be removed not only from active royal duties, but also from the legal structure that defines the role of senior royals. After this, Harry would still remain in the line of succession. However, that position carries no active power. Without an official role, without HR status, and without a UK home, his link to the British constitutional system becomes purely symbolic, with no real function attached. Number 5. Exclusion in the British monarchy. In the British monarchy, position matters as much as role. The way royal events are arranged, including processions, seating in pews, and standing during vigils, is not random. It is a precise and visible system that shows status clearly. During the first 24 hours of King William's reign, preliminary planning begins for Operation Many Bridge, the code name for the protocols that follow the death of a monarch. The Earl Marshal and the College of Arms are brought together. The Accession Council meets at St. James's Palace. In all these settings, Harry and Meghan's positions are clearly and carefully defined. Harry is not included in the inner circle of the Accession Council. If Harry and Meghan attend the funeral, they will do so without a royal motorcade, without metropolitan police protection, and without intelligence support from MI5. He is no longer the son of the king in an official role sense. He is the king's brother and not a working royal. In court hierarchy, this is a clear reduction in standing, reflected in physical placement. Meghan's position is also defined with precision. As the spouse of a non-working royal who has publicly criticized the institution, she is treated in protocol terms as a private guest rather than a working member of the family. On the ground, this means they may not walk in the main procession behind the coffin. They may be placed in cars with other non-working relatives, while working royals and their spouses walk on foot. Their seating in the chapel is arranged to be visible but not central. Key moments such as steps at Windsor, prayers at St. George's Chapel, and the lying in state vigil may not include them. The palace communications team will not issue statements about exclusion. It will appear only in official photographs, in placement, and in presence. This is protocol-based exclusion without words, communicated only through images clearly. Number 4. the royal website, and the real-time change of status. This may sound small, but it is not. The royal family official website is not only a public information resource. It reflects in real time the official status of every member of the royal family, as recognized by the palace. Within hours of the accession, the website will be updated to reflect the reality of King William's reign. Harry and Meghan will be moved, not deleted. They cannot be fully deleted from the historical record, but their names, photographs, and profiles will be relocated from the working members section to something closer to a legacy or extended family category. Below the Princess Royal, below the Duke of Kent, in a section that exists as an acknowledgement of their existence rather than a recognition of their role. Their HRH styling will be omitted in all new official publications. The court circular, the daily official record of the royal family's engagements, will not carry their names except in the context of historical reference. They will, in the language of the palace, cease to be operational. And why does this matter so much? Because in the age of the internet, official recognition is brand infrastructure. Every time a search engine media outlet, booking agency, or corporate partner looks up Harry and Meghan, the first authoritative result they encounter is the palace website. Once that website reclassifies them, the reclassification ripples outward into every other context. Number 3. Loss of royal access and privileges. This loss is quieter than most, but for Harry, it carries deep strategic importance. He is a man who wrote a memoir, partly to shape and control his own historical narrative. Because of that, this change becomes especially significant in how his story can be told and supported in the future. The British Royal Archives contain important documents, letters, photographs, correspondence, and records. These materials tell the full history of every member of the House of Windsor. While Harry was a senior royal under his father, he had a certain level of access to these archives. It was not full access, but it was a trusted family level of access. This allowed him to refer to private letters, remember documented conversations, and place his personal experiences within the official historical record. However, this access changes with Charles. Under King William, access to the royal archives for non-working members of the family becomes fully based on the sovereign's discretion. King William has no legal or constitutional requirement to give Harry access to documents that belong to the official records of the Crown. This is not treated as personal punishment. It is simply the application of long-standing rules that have always existed, but were never strictly applied to a son of the king. Now, those same rules are applied equally, even when it involves a brother. The same shift also affects other royal systems. The Royal Museum access, the Royal Collection, and the Royal Travel infrastructure are no longer automatically available to Harry. His access to these systems is quietly but completely removed within the first 24 hours. If he wants to visit the Royal Art Collection, he must now book a public tour like any other visitor. If he needs transportation for a royal event, he must arrange it on his own. The unseen structure of royal life, the convenience and support systems he never had to think about before, are no longer available to him. Number 2. The end of the Sussex royal office. For years, Harry and Meghan have kept a very small royal household presence in the United Kingdom. This office has been a minimal but active operation. It has handled correspondence, coordinated charity work, and managed formal liaison with the palace. It has quietly worked as an institutional lifeline. It shows that even after stepping back, there is still a connection and a working relationship with the Crown. The first instructions from William to the royal households will include a full efficiency review of all operational units. The Sussex office, or what remains of it, will not fit into this new structure. In a streamlined monarchy led by a king, who now sees the Sussexes not as partly connected members of the royal family system, but as private individuals, the office has no place. Within the first day, the staff working in that office will receive notice that their positions are under review. The formal liaison role with the palace will be ended. There will be no public statement and no press release. Instead, there will be a quiet administrative instruction that spreads slowly, like a ripple. It is the type of institutional change that happens through internal memos before the public even fully understands what is taking place following Charles's passing. This office once represented real function. It was the official contact point that showed Harry and Meghan still had a formal presence linked to the United Kingdom. It managed correspondence with dignity, maintained relationships with their supported charities, and kept a private communication channel with the palace that could not be replaced by media deals or external public relations. That internal channel will now no longer exist. This is important because the office was not just administrative. It was the final structured connection between the Sussexes and the working system of the British Crown. Without it, they cannot claim any operational link to royal functions. They cannot access palace systems. They cannot use official channels to communicate with the United Kingdom government or Commonwealth bodies. That final institutional connection is fully removed. This leads to a larger question about what Archewell becomes. Without any link to the British monarchy, it becomes a fully private American organization with no formal relationship to royal structures at all. This question will not remain open for long, as it will be answered within the first 24 hours after Charles passes. Number 1. The final and most irreversible loss. We have already looked at titles, money, property, protocol, security, uniforms, and offices. Each of these changes is important on its own, but there is one final and most irreversible loss that happens to Harry and Meghan in the first 24 hours of King William's reign. This last loss is deeper than all the others. It is the one thing that cannot be replaced, not through legal action and not through commercial success. That final loss is the possibility of going home. Under King Charles, there was always a door that still existed for Harry. It was not an open door. It was not a warm or welcoming door either. It was a quiet and carefully controlled door, but it was still there. King Charles made it clear in private conversations through intermediaries, and also through careful public statements filled with intentional ambiguity, that he had not completely written his son off. It was understood that the conversation was not finished. There was still a connection, however small. There was still a sense that something between them remained alive, even if it was fragile. It was like a low burning flame that had not gone out. For Harry, this mattered more than he often showed in public. He often presented confidence, independence, and distance. He spoke about freedom and a new life. But beneath all of that, this remaining flame carried real emotional weight. It meant that his separation from the royal family was not total. It was not final. It was something that had been chosen, not something permanently sealed. And because it was chosen, it also carried the possibility that, in a different future, it could be unchosen or changed. In the first 24 hours of King William's reign, that small flame is extinguished. William removes it through a series of structured and decisive actions. Financial instruments are reallocated. Letters patent are issued. Security arrangements are terminated. The Sussex office is closed down. The couple are removed from the official royal website. The uniform ban is enforced. Funeral protocol is managed in a way that places them clearly outside the inner royal circle. Each action is administrative on its surface, but together they form a complete structural shift. It is important to understand that William is not acting mainly out of personal anger or spite. His approach is based on his role as king and his understanding of what the monarchy requires. He sees ambiguity as a serious risk to stability. In his view, the existence of Harry and Meghan in a space that is neither fully inside nor fully outside the institution creates a dangerous uncertainty. This liminal position becomes one of the most destabilizing situations the palace has faced in a long time. By ending this ambiguity completely, William removes uncertainty from the system. There is no longer any half position. There is no in-between status. There is no longer any version of events where Harry can return to a senior working royal role and repair the damage caused by public projects like his memoir and documentary work. The possibility of reintegration is fully closed. The separation is no longer informal or emotional. It is institutional and constitutional. The bridge between them is not simply damaged or burned. It is formally demolished under royal authority. The remaining structure is cleared away, and the ground is leveled so that nothing unstable remains. There is a final irony in this situation that cannot be ignored. If Harry and Meghan attend the funeral, they will do so without a royal motorcade, without metropolitan police protection, and without intelligence support from MI5. Harry left royal life in the year 2020. He said he left to find freedom, to live according to his own values, and to build a life that felt more authentic than institutional duty. In many ways, he achieved parts of that goal. He secured major media deals, including a streaming agreement. He published a memoir that brought global attention. He built a home in California. He created a life physically outside the palace and far from its daily structure. However, in building this new life, he also created a version of himself that still remains deeply connected to the royal family he left behind. His public value is strongly linked to his former royal position. His identity in the eyes of the world is still shaped by his royal background. Even his children's sense of heritage is tied to titles that he himself stepped away from. This connection has not disappeared, even with distance. With King Charles no longer serving as a living bridge between Harry and the institution, that connection becomes even more distant. Charles represented, even in difficulty, a possibility of emotional or symbolic reunion. With that possibility gone, Harry is left to face the full weight of separation in a much more complete way. There is also an important emotional consequence that follows. The freedom Harry sought comes with a cost that may not have been fully understood at the time he chose it. Freedom has been achieved in many ways, but it exists alongside a permanent removal from the structure he once belonged to. As the first 24 hours of King William's reign come to a close, Harry and Meghan are in a position that is clearly defined and fully public. They may be in Montecito, or in a London hotel, or somewhere in between these locations. They will have taken part in early ceremonial funeral arrangements, but only as private guests. They will have stood in the correct physical spaces, but not within the correct circles of influence or belonging. They will also be seen without the formal signs that once surrounded them. There are no royal salutes directed toward them. There is no HR-style designation attached to them. There is no institutional framework holding their presence in place. All of the structures that once defined their position have been removed. In this moment, they are no longer inside the protective environment of the royal institution. They are fully outside it. The separation is no longer symbolic. It is complete. They are outside the fortress, and from that position, they can see clearly how the institution has moved forward with efficiency and precision. The monarchy is now preparing for a new coronation under King William. This future has no functional role for Harry and Meghan. There is no expectation of their return. There is no space reserved for their reintegration. There is no institutional plan that includes them. King Charles, in this final reflection, represents the last remaining softness between Harry and full separation. With his presence gone, that softness is gone as well. What remains now is a clear and irreversible reality. The central question that follows is not only about what Harry and Meghan lose in these first 24 hours. That part is already visible and defined. The deeper question is, what comes next? What do they build in the space left behind after everything has been removed, finalized, and closed?